Hello, it's Mrs. Reynolds. I would just like to give you an RSE update for our academic year 2023. So you will have seen the RSE consultation out to parents previously, but there are just some little bits that I would like to update you with. And also for the benefit of anyone who hasn't seen this before or anyone who is new to our school, this is a little bit of information about the RSE curriculum. Okay, so the aim of this video today is to inform our families of our legal obligations in terms of RSE, which is relationships and sex education. I'd like to share with all of you, parents and our guardians, what relationships and sex education looks like at our school, and obviously to welcome any questions and feedback that you might have. So, the RSE curriculum is absolutely about us working together. Sex and relationship education became compulsory across the country from September 2020. You might already know that. It was delayed until 2021 due to COVID and all of the disruption that went alongside that. We absolutely welcome our parents' involvement in school life. We are committed to working with you on this for the benefit of your children. You will have seen before our character and culture compass. You're probably quite familiar with this now. RSE is one of the 8 points on our compass. You see there we've also got our core values, our PSHE, British values, RE, everything we do that goes above and beyond, RSE, and social and emotional learning. These all tie fairly well together because if you're looking, for example, at British values and you're talking about respect and tolerance, you'll also be looking then at relationships and the sex education curriculum, which also ties in with PSHE, social and emotional learning, and so on. So they all link really well together. It is very much under the umbrella of our character and culture compass at our school. So what's new? And when I say what is new, most of this is what is new since 2020. Rather than what is new today. There are some updates and some changes that I need to share with you, but in terms of what is new, it really is new from the last couple of years. So from September 2020, all primary school children must be taught about relationships and health, and that's in terms of healthy relationships. It is the law and it applies to all schools. The statutory content will form part of our personal, social and health education, which is our PSHE, and it goes alongside other elements of that. So in terms of what stays the same, we've always taught children about dealing with the world around them as part of our PSHE. We will keep doing that. The lessons will still be called PSHE on their medium and long-term plans and in the lessons we teach. We will not be telling children that we're teaching RSE. There's just no need. It is just part of our PSHE curriculum. We've taught most of these things for a very long time anyway. They just now have a new name. So the change has been made because they believe that relationships education will, first of all, prevent discriminatory behaviours based on perceived difference, and it'll help children to be happy, healthy, safe, and prepare them for life in a diverse modern society. We have to prepare children for the world that they live in. And RSE does that. The other thing about RSE is that it does help to keep our children safe. I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. So making the subject compulsory, it demonstrates the government's commitment to those aims and the intentions of the RSE curriculum. So this is brand new. There have been a lot of discussions around RSE, and because of that, the government, particularly the DFE, which is Department for Education, have committed to undertake a review of RSE. This has been going on for a little while now, and it will hopefully be completed by the end of the calendar year, so 2023. Very recently, I don't know if you saw, but the Secretary of State for Education, Ian Keegan, announced that all lesson content and materials must be available to families in relation to RSE. The message around that was that parents absolutely have a right to know what their children are being taught in school. And just for clarity, though, this has always been the case at Crossflatts. We've always had a very open policy. We're completely transparent. And we have very open, honest relationships with parents and families. All of our information related to RSE and all of our learning is available on our website, and it always has been. You are very welcome to speak to staff about this, and you will always be informed when we're doing certain parts of the curriculum, which I will come back to in a little bit. So some questions that you might have. First of all, will relationships education be suitable for your child? Yes, because our teaching will be age appropriate and respectful of faith and diversity, like everything else that we already do. Our relationship education does not teach children about sex. It is relationships education. So it is called relationships and sex education, but in primary school, it's predominantly focused on relationships. In terms of compatibility with religion, schools have to take into account religious background of all pupils and handle sensitive topics appropriately. Again, and I'm not repeating myself, I'm trying not to repeat myself, but we do that anyway. We already do that. We are already aware of all of our families and the varying needs and beliefs of our families. And we are really careful to be sensitive to that and be mindful of those things when we are planning our lessons. So the Equality Act of 2010 states that religion or belief are protected characteristics. That's along with age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage and civil partnerships, pregnancy and maternity, race, sex and sexual orientation. Schools must deliver this statutory curriculum to all pupils, irrespective of any of the factors mentioned in the protected characteristics, but it has to be done in a way that accommodates all of those people who fall under the protected characteristics umbrella. In terms of withdrawing children from relationships education, there is no legal right to withdraw children from relationships education. We are legally obliged to teach and deliver the full curriculum to all of our children. For children with special educational needs or disabilities, like all other aspects of our curriculum, it will be this education, relationships education, will be differentiated and personalised for pupils with SEND. Schools have a duty to prepare children for adulthood from early childhood, as set out in the SEND Code of Practice. We absolutely have a duty to deliver the same curriculum as far as possible to all of our children. This question is on here because it is something that has been asked. Will my child learn about gay relationships and LGBT communities? We will continue to teach children to be respectful and fair to people from all types of families, and that includes those with mums and dads, single parent families, adoptive or foster families, and families with same-sex parents. That is an integral part of the curriculum. There is no such thing in our school as an LGBT lesson. The DfE has included this in order to promote respect for diversity. So you do learn about ranges of families, you do learn that people can have all kinds of different relationships, but you do not learn specifically, there's not a lesson about LGBT. There are lessons about tolerance, acceptance, which is obviously absolutely the right thing. It promotes respect for diversity and it prepares children for the world that they live in. We've already mentioned that, and it applies to this as well. They will also learn about healthy relationships with family and friends and what healthy relationships look like, getting along with other people in society, bullying, keeping ourselves safe in person and online, which obviously is increasingly important, and how to get help if they feel unsafe. Sex education is not part of these lessons. The requirement for primary schools is to teach relationships education. This is new in terms of the RSE curriculum, and this is something that we have had lots of conversations around at school, and I know that lots of parents are aware of. So the children will learn about their bodies. So the PSHE Association, the NSPCC and the Sex Education Forum all agree that as a safeguarding issue, children should know the names of their body parts, which includes genitalia, and that these parts of our bodies are private. Children will learn the correct terms for their external body parts by the end of Key Stage 1. This includes the words penis, testicles, and vulva. All of our teaching resources and materials have been produced so that they are fully in line with the learning outcomes and core themes in the PSHE Association's 2020 programme of study. That's widely used by schools in England, and it is recommended and referred to by the DfE in all key documentation relating to PSHE provision in schools. Our PSHE and RSE learning and our curriculum is supplemented by CAPOW, which is also a very highly respected, widely used scheme of learning that supports us in delivering these lessons to children in an age-appropriate way. Like everything else, it's age and stage appropriate. By the end of Key Stage 1, that is the particular area of change. Children learn the correct terms for external body parts. obviously the way we teach that is the way we would teach anything, just very honestly, very open. We don't make it a taboo. We don't make it a big deal. It's quite relaxed. And you will also be informed when we are going to have those conversations, so that you don't, that's not sort of sprung upon you on the way home from school or something. This is something that we also do with our children, the underwear rule. We introduced the underwear rule quite early on. It's a very simple way that we can help to keep children safe from abuse without usually relating to any sexual organs. So this starts very early with our children, and it's essential that it does. It teaches children, among other things, that their body is their own, it belongs to them. The body parts under their underwear are private, and no one should ask to see or touch their private parts or ask them to look at or touch anyone else's. We absolutely encourage you to use similar terminology and similar explanation. It's to explain the underwear rule using the acronym PANTS. Okay, so it stands for private's a private. Always remember your body belongs to you. No means no. Talk about secrets that upset you and speak up. Someone can help. An important part of the speak up, and we do this a lot with our children here, is to talk to them about who they can speak to. And it has to include, people in a range of places, not just the people within your household, but also people at school, if they go to gymnastics, brownies, guides, anything like that, as they get a little bit older. It's important that they have safe adults. A recommended amount of safe adults is 5 adults that you could go to, who you can trust, if there is something that you feel you need to share. And we do encourage our children to think about that. So the pants and underwear rule is supported by the NSPCC. They've got a song and supporting materials that are specifically for younger children. And we do share that with you when we've just discussed it in school, the same as the previous slide. The song that goes with it is really catchy. We've used it for quite a long time now. The children really like it. They don't feel uncomfortable with it because it is actually just silly, and it is so, it's a really important message, but it's delivered in such a way that the children don't think anything of it. They hear the message, they learn the message, but they don't dwell on it, which is exactly how it needs to be. In Key Stage 2, children have to learn about the emotional and physical changes that happen during puberty. In Year 4, children will learn about the biology of the menstrual cycle as part of their PSHE, and in fact a bit of the science curriculum. They will learn basically what happens during menstruation. They'll also learn about hygiene routines and how growing and changing might impact feelings. It's quite like touch. And again, it is appropriate for that age, increasingly so. In Year 6, it'll also be delivered in single-sex groups by class teachers or school nurses. And it is in the children's best interests to understand what's happening to them as they grow. It's part of the statutory health education curriculum. There is we are not allowed to withdraw children from that. They have to learn about their bodies and what their bodies will experience. A letter outlining what is covered and when will be sent to you prior to the lesson, so you will know about that. In terms of family involvement, it is really important that there's an open conversation between families and school to ensure that the children are given the best PSHE and consequently RSE provision. We do welcome feedback, and we will work alongside all of you. It is really important that we get this right between us for the safety and welfare of our children. So any further information, please email me directly. My email address is laura.reynolds@crossflatts.bradford.sch.uk. And that is that really. All of the information that I've shared with you is also available on our website. As I said, the themes of learning, the curriculum in terms of all of our character and culture, but PSHE, RSE is all on our website under the character and culture tab. There is also a video on there that talks you through PSHE, which touches then on the RSE curriculum. I'm happy to talk to you about anything at all relating to this. And I hope that has been useful for you. Thank you.